I was going to start the live stream a couple minutes ago, but then saw there was some drama in the Browns-Packers game. Did not think there was going to be drama in that game at all, but um, Browns beat the Packers on a 55-yard field goal at the gun. All 13 of their points in the final quarter. So Cleveland 13, Green Bay 10. An interesting score paired with Vikings kicking butt against the Bengals today. That was 48-3 at one point. I decided to start the live stream early because that thing is over. It's been over for a while. So here you have it. You've got Vikings now going to be 2-1. Packers are going to be 2-1. Everybody in the division's got at least one loss now. Things feel a little bit different today than they did at the start of the day, do they not? My good friend Chicken Finger 69, by the way, alerting me to what's going on in the Green Bay game and then saying this is the greatest day of my life on social media. What made it that way initially? Let's get to the Viking stuff. Obviously, that's what you're here for. The Vikings rout the Bengals. A lot of takeaways from this game. The biggest one that I think is interesting is what do we make of how the offense looked with Carson Wentz? Now, I kind of had like a sarcastic tweet early in the game where I said basically, hey, if I was JJ McCarthy, I would have liked to play with Christian Darrisaw, Andrew Van Ginkel, and Harrison Smith. Got a lot of sarcastic responses. Hey, Harrison Smith and Andrew Van Ginkel don't play offense. How is he going to play offense with those guys? Just probably one of the reasons you never read the comments or try not to read the comments. But I read those comments. Like, here's the point. The Vikings were closer to full strength than they've been for a while. They hadn't had Darrisaw all season, didn't have Van Ginkel last week or for part of the week before, didn't have Harrison Smith. All of those guys instrumental today. Not as instrumental as Isaiah Rodgers, who we'll get to in a little bit, but instrumental in the win. Harrison Smith has the deflection on the first Isaiah Rodgers touchdown, the pick six that he runs back all the way. That game's 7-0 at that point. Cincinnati's driving down the field, hoping to get points at least, but maybe tie the game 7-7. Smith gets a deflection as Jake Browning is flushed out of the pocket, gets a deflection, probably would have been a first down completion. Rodgers picks it off, runs for a touchdown, 14-0, huge. Van Ginkel gets a sack to end the next possession, if I'm not mistaken. Darrisaw protecting his blind side, protecting Carson Wentz's blind side all day. So it's hard to do an apples to apples comparison between what we saw from JJ McCarthy the first 2 weeks and what we saw from Carson Wentz in this game. However, Carson Wentz was good. He was really good. I thought he would be good in this game. I argued earlier this week that he gave the Vikings a better chance to win in this game than I thought JJ McCarthy would, just because of his veteran leadership, because of his poise. Some of that was because I didn't know if they were going to have Darrisaw. I knew they weren't going to have Ryan Kelly, but he definitely gave them something. The final numbers weren't like eye-popping, but 14 of 20, 173, 2 touchdowns. He took 3 sacks, all of them early on, 129.8 passer rating. He got into a flow as the game went on. He was decisive with his passes, making good decisions. He had a connection with TJ Hawkinson, 5 catches for Hawkinson and a touchdown. Justin Jefferson, 5 for 75 and a touchdown. It seemed like they had more of a flow offensively. And I still didn't run a ton of plays, but they had everything going there. They had Jordan Mason going, 16 carries, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. He looked really good running the ball. Just a ton of things that they were doing in this game that were just, that just looked so much better than they have in the past couple weeks. By the way, while I'm doing this, watch the Jets just block a field goal against the Buccaneers. Bucs were up 6. Jets blocked the field goal, ran it back for a touchdown to tie the game with less than 2 minutes left, and now they're going to try the extra point for the win. That is a stunning change of direction in that game. Shows you how these games can change in a dime. The Vikings game did not change in a dime. They kept piling on the momentum. Carson Wentz, very good. I liked how decisive he was. I liked how the offensive line, by and large, played in front of him. They made the point several times on the broadcast that, having Darisaw back means that TJ Hawkinson doesn't have to chip guys at the line of scrimmage. Great point. They finally won a game with Tony Romo in the booth. I think it'd be an 0-6 with Romo calling a game, including like 2 blowouts during the 2022 season. Like two of their 4 losses were just brutal losses that Romo worked. So they finally won a game that Tony Romo worked, things like that. But Isaiah Rodgers, unbelievable in this game. We got to get to him because he was the story of the game, right? The pick six, Harrison Smith had the deflection, but the pick six makes it 14-0. It's 17-3, under 2 minutes or roughly 2 minutes to go in the half, and Rodgers punches a ball out, recovers his own forced fumble, and runs it back for a touchdown. That what makes it 24-3, I think. Or yeah, they're pumping up the lead big. 24-3. They get it back again. They get it to 31-3. They get it back again. He has another forced fumble in there. His first half, the first half of the game for Isaiah Rodgers, who came over obviously from the Eagles free agency, one of the big replacements. Brian Flores loves this guy. We're like, yeah, who's Isaiah Rodgers? Like, is he really going to add stability? Is he really going to add what you need to what you want to do here? He goes for what? 2 forced fumbles, an interception, a pass breakup in the end zone. By the way, when the game was, I think, 17-0, he has a pass breakup in the end zone that keeps T. Higgins from catching the pass in the end zone. Single coverage, great play. Like at that point, I tweeted like, man, he's having a game. He's had a pick six and this pass breakup. That was before the forced fumble return for a touchdown. That was before his next forced fumble. Like, he might have had the greatest first half of any defensive player in history. Like, the only guy to ever have 2 touchdowns and 2 forced fumbles in the same game. He did it in one half. Unbelievable. Unbelievable result there. Unbelievable everything in that game from Isaiah Rodgers. But it seemed like a game where everything was finally clicking for the Vikings. It was kind of sloppy early. You had some procedure penalties. You had some, I think Darisaw had a false start on one of those plays. I think the new center, Michael Juergens, filling in for Ryan Kelly, he had a false start. Hawkinson had one in there. I think one other guy. So it was a bunch of early false starts. It was looking sloppy early in the game, but they were able to do what they needed to do to win this game. I don't know if it's gone final yet. I'm going to look and see. Yeah, final now, 48-10. One of the more comfortable, lopsided results you're ever going to see. And again, I don't know what to do with the big picture takeaways in this game, right? Like, I had my suspicions, like, when they made the quick switch earlier in the week, like, hey, are they just giving JJ McCarthy like some time off? Do they need a veteran like Carson Wentz to come in and stabilize things? Is it really that bad of an ankle injury? He didn't have a boot on during the game. McCarthy didn't when they're showing him on the sidelines. But so you just got to think about, well, what kind of games do they play? What is the real kind of story here? Regardless of what was happening, Wentz did give them that stabilizing force. He was that stabilizing force. Again, though, he had so much help, right? Like, it's easier to play when you're up 20, up 30. McCarthy's barely played with a lead this season. He's barely played with a full complement of players. He hasn't had his preferred left tackle, his excellent left tackle. He hasn't had the luxury of having him in the game. So, like, drawing too many conclusions is tough. But Carson Wentz was very good in managing this game early, making some good throws, making some good decisions, making the right reads, getting them into the right stuff. Like, you can tell what he brings as a veteran. You can tell how a veteran runs the Kevin O'Connell offense in a way that's different from the way a guy with very little experience runs his offense. So I think JJ McCarthy is obviously still their future. He is what they have banked their future on. Carson Wentz was a great quarterback for today, a great quarterback perhaps in the near term as they're thinking about going overseas. Now, it's not a short week, but it's a short week of preparation, and then you got to travel. You got 2 games in Europe against the Steelers and Browns. Browns, by the way, hey, beat the Packers, like I said, at the jump, so they're not a pushover. Steelers have Aaron Rodgers. They're going okay right now. Like, those are not going to be easy games. Those are going to be games where you're going to need to produce offense. Obviously, they had 48 points today. A lot of that is the defense with 2 scores, return scores for touchdowns, but the offense did plenty. They got the running game going. They got Carson Wentz going in the short and intermediate pass game. Quick decisions, quick passing game, things of that nature, that they were able to then, have the wherewithal to win a game that they really needed to win. Cincinnati was 2-0 coming into this game. Yes, Joe Burrow is injured. Yes, they don't have their full complement of preferred players, but that's still a must-win game, a game they had to have. And I think Carson Wentz played a role in that game that we can't overlook, that we cannot say, hey, it was just the defense. It was just Isaiah Rodgers. It was just everybody else. No, there was other factors in that game too. There's other factors in that game, and Carson Wentz was a big piece of it. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of all of it. I do know everybody should feel a lot better about the Vikings right now than they did at the start of the day 3 hours ago. Like, everything that was wrong with this team, it's not like everything goes away, but you see it now. You see what they're going with. You got a lot of jokers on social media. Will the downtown construction impact the Super Bowl parade route? People jump into that mode right away. Let's not go there. It was a day where almost everything went right for them. Almost everything goes wrong with the Bengals. The defense looks like a top 5 defense for the first time all year. Yeah, they've had some good moments against the Bears, kept them in that game, had the momentum that they turned things around in that game. Bend but don't break against the Falcons, who, by the way, did not look good today against Carolina. Did not look good at all, and then trying to get their offense going. So a little bit of a head scratcher there as you kind of consider the big picture, some of those big picture things, because I didn't see the final score in that game. I'm going to go find that really quick. But the Falcons did not look good today. So what do you make of that? What do you make of how that impacts how you feel about losing last week? Carolina beat Atlanta 30-0 today. Carolina beat Atlanta 30-0 today. So think about that. Think about what you saw last week, what you saw from the Vikings this week, and Atlanta winning or losing 30-0 this week, as we kind of deconstruct where all those teams are at. I think big picture, if they're 2-1, they needed to win this game. They have to feel good about the future and the direction of the direction of things right now. And I feel like they're in a good spot now. They're in a much better spot now. It's just a matter of, okay, where do they go from here? How much of that was Carson Wentz? When does J.J. McCarthy come back? And what does it look like when he is, in fact, back in the lineup? Those are all big questions. We'll have answers to them pretty soon, but not today. Today, just a day to enjoy everything that went right. Some early starts in a couple weeks with those Europe games. Those will be fun. Things to watch over there. Plenty of things to watch over there. Until then, I'm going to do another live stream after the links today, so check that out. Until then, I'm Michael Rand. Live stream with the links later. Royce and I tomorrow. We'll talk to you later.